Yeah, good afternoon to all for this 12th episode of our Wednesday Wisdom webinar. And we are starting as we are slightly delayed because of some technical snag. Uh, People will be joining in between, and but we will start our program. Uh, and I would request all of you to kindly keep your speakers on mute mode and cameras also so that you have a best network availability and we can continue with this. Uh, so welcome again all in the second part of the presentation by Mr. Mohit Kumar on oil testing. In the first part, he has touched upon in a great deal about uh, the different test and standards, test procedures, and also methods of sampling and cares to be taken in that program. And that program was widely applauded. After that, we had another program on oil from Dr. Vaidya from Savita, and he touched upon quite detailed aspect of the mineral oils, including new development and all. And today again, we are going to have this third consecutive program on the transformer oil. So with these three programs, we have covered a very important component of the transformer, that is oil. And last week, we had Mr. Gaurav Bhatt in the program, who is an CRG expert, and he has talked about CRGO and various different aspects of it. And that program was also went very well. And now we are toying up having a second part of program on the CRG also. And if everything goes well, very soon we will have a second program also. So you can see that we are covering different, not only transformer, but different components of the transformer. And in this series, again, I'm going to announce the next week's program, and that is going to be on the on-load tape changes, which is again a very critical equipment on the transformer. So the things are going quite well, and I'm happy that people are appreciating and you are coming to our programs and attending it regularly. So with this, not taking much time, I would take you quickly through the North Star, and then we will go to our interview of Mr. Mohit Kumar. So North Star is a company in consulting and services, and we are into four different activities, starting from the consulting, where we mainly support transfer manufacturers in terms of technology, plant engineering, business process improvement, and design and cost optimization. Then we have field services where we have our team of technicians and engineers, and we provide complete on-site support to our end users as well as transformer manufacturers, starting from erection testing and commissioning to providing of spares and annual maintenance contracts. Even retrofilling with Easter oils also we do take up. We also support our customers in helping them finding out the troubles with the transformer by analyzing different tests and providing the diagnostic solutions. Our third category is the third area of service is knowledge sharing, which we do through North Star Knowledge Academy. We conduct seminars, webinars, workshops, and classroom trainings. Since almost a year now, we have not conducted any personal physical seminar, and we are limited to conducting webinars only. And this today's event is one such initiative of our North Star Knowledge Academy. So, talking about Mr. Mohit Kumar coming to today's subject matter expert, I am again welcoming him to the program and very happy to have again with us and looking forward for the more advanced information which he is going to share today. Mr. Mohit is an electrical engineer and also chartered engineer and a very experienced electrical safety auditor. He is authorized by Haryana government Chief Electrical Inspectorate to conduct independent audit as per CA regulations. And he is having 13 years of experience in design and detail engineering. And till now conducted more than 100 electrical safety audits in different sectors. He is also a member of IEEE and have worked with Jindal Steel and Power Limited and completed various assignments at power and steel and cement plants. So with this, I welcome him to the program. I'm disconnecting my screen and requesting him to kindly put up his PPT. Welcome, Mr. Mohit.
Thank you, Rajiv ji, and thank you all the participants, those who have spared their valuable time for this beautiful event. And again, I would like to thank thank you, Mr. Rajiv, for his beautiful initiative. So, in our previous season, in the last episode, we have uh, discussed about the requirements of transformer oil testing, what is the importance, and how to select which method we need to adopt. The again some recap will be sharing today also.
Great.
So I'll be just sharing my slide right now. Rajiv ji, आप एक बारी host मेरे को convert कर दीजिए so that I can share my screen.
I think you can do that. I changed the settings now. Now you can share the screen. Are you not able to do that?
Okay, just a minute, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now the screen is visible, sir.
Yeah, it is coming. It has come.
It has come now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to PPT mode. I mean presentation mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is all about our laboratory. The name is KTech Oil Laboratories, and we'll start with our introduction. Our laboratory is a division of Event Electric Private Limited, and the company started laboratory operations in 2005. And basically, we are into the field of transformer manufacturing, and our major clients include defense, military engineering services. So we got NAB accreditation.
Mohit, can you switch on your video, please, or if it is not an issue?
Sir, actually, there is no any issue, sir. Actually, the net connectivity is not so good.
Okay.
So to continue with this presentation, I have switched off this video.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Our laboratory got NAB accreditation in year 2018. We were the first private laboratory in North India to use fully automatic tan delta and resistivity tester. That means we just need to put the sample and the instrument automatically calculates the tan delta and resistivity without any manual intervention.
Okay.
In year 2015, in year 2020, we became North India's first NABL accredited laboratory to have test facility as per IC standard also. And our esteemed clients include HPCL, IOCL, BPCL, Ultratech Cement, L&T, Indian Railways, Tata Projects, and there are so many companies who are doing EPC services for the solar energy.
Okay.
And again, I would like to share this screen, but we are trying to avoid is the fire. हमारे transformer में आग नहीं लगनी चाहिए. It should not get damaged, as it is in a heart of our electrical system. So all our efforts is just to trying to save the transformer so that we get uninterrupted power all the times. Sir, we are just doing recap of the previous season.
Yeah, please.
So we'll come up with a
small quick recap so that we are in continuation with what we had discussed last time.
Yeah. I am just doing fast recap. And the function of transformer oil, we need an insulating oil which should be stable at high temperature and should have excellent electrical insulating properties. So the transformer oil primary functions are cooling and the insulating, providing insulating of the transformer. Why we trust transformer oil? Transformer oils are subject to electrical and mechanical stresses while a transformer is in operation or is in service. There are always various contamination caused by chemical reactions, like in transformer we have cellulose insulation, we have paint, we have insulators, so many particles are there. So there is always a chance of contamination. So we need to monitor the condition of transformer oil, whether it is suitable for our future use or not. So what we do, we test large transformer or this transformer oils It is periodically tested for its electrical and chemical properties to ensure that it is suitable for further use. Now the properties of new transformer oil. There are the four categories. One is functional categories, then is refining and stability categories, third is performance category, and the fourth is HSC category. In the functional category, it comes around viscosity, power point, water content, breakdown voltage, density. In refining, there are so many parameters like appearance, acidity, DBDS, corrosive sulfur, furan compounds, sulfur content. Like in performance, oxidation stability comes, gassing tendency comes, ECT comes, and in health, it is flash point, PC, and PCB content. These are the four major categories. So some of the test parameters we have discussed in the last episode.
Right.
Now the point come how to select the appropriate standard. There are two things. One, oil which is in refinery that has come to the end user, but it has not been used. It is still in the drums, will be considered as a new insulating oils. So that new insulating oils, the IS 335 2018 covers that portion. There is an important point to be remembered. Unless and until the transformer oil, it is not has been used in transformer oil, has not been taken inside the transformer, it shall be considered as in a new insulating oil. That means the product which is in a tanker, it is shall be considered as a new insulating oil. When it is in a drum, it shall be considered as new insulating oils. When it is taken inside the transformer which has been used, so it will be considered as used mineral oil. That will come in the Indian standard 1866 2017, and this standard is already in line with the IEC standard 60422. This guideline, this standard is applicable to mineral insulating oil originally supplied conforming to transformers, conforming to IS 335, and which has been used in transformer, switchgear, and other electrical apparatus. This standard is also intended to assist the power equipment operator to evaluate the condition of oil and maintain it in a service condition. So there are some requirements which is defined, which is already defined in IS 1866. What should be the value of breakdown voltage? What should be the acceptable limits for water content? What should be the value of furan compounds? Like this, there are some parameters. There already limits has been defined in this standard. Now this table comes of IS 335. There are three categories. One is type 1 transformer oil, type 2 transformer oil, and low temperature switchgear oil. On the left side, there are the parameters. It is mentioned there, the test method, according to which test method we need to test the transformer oil. Like viscosity, we will test as per IS 1448. Water content, we will test as per IS 60814. Like breakdown voltage, we will test as per IS 6792. And on the right side, there are the requirement, what should be the minimum value and what should be the maximum value. Like in case of breakdown voltage, if we go, there are two values are mentioned, 30 kV or oblique 17 kV. 70 kV. 30 kV is for the oil which is unfiltered oil. The minimum requirement is 30 kV. Like a new transformer oil should have a minimum breakdown voltage of 30 kV unfiltered oil. When we have filtered it, the same oil, before using into the transformer, that oil should have minimum value of 17 kV after filtration. Like we consider density at 20 degrees Celsius, the value is 0.895. That is the maximum. There is a minimum and maximum is mentioned after the parameters. Now we come to the IS 1866. These are the table 1 in which some of the tests has been defined which are required for in-service mineral insulating oils. The transformer oil which has been used in oil transformer is in service. So there we need to follow the table 1. There are the some test color and appearance, breakdown voltage, and their test method is also mentioned. Which test method we need to follow this particular for test parameters. Now there are two categories. 1866 when we have used the transformer oil, there are two conditions. One thing is that whether we have charged the transformer or not, and the second condition when we have charged the transformer. So that's why there are again two tables. That is table 3. These are the recommended limits for mineral insulating oils after filling in new electrical equipment prior to energization. For example, a big transformer, a large transformer, we are going to energize. So before charging before energization of transformer, these are the parameters, and this should be the values of transformer oil so that we can safely energize our transformer. So table 3 defines the recommended limits of transformer of this insulating oil in electrical equipment prior to energization. Now there is table 5. It defines the value after the energization. When we have used the transformer oil, we are using the transformer seems 3 years, 5 years, 40 years, 50 years. So these are the categories. If you see in the last breakdown voltage, if we take the example of the highest voltage for equipment for 72.5 below, the breakdown voltage should be greater than 55 kV as per table 3. If we come in table 5 for breakdown voltage, then if you'll see it is 30. So that means for energization of equipment, the breakdown voltage is higher side. When we have energized that transformer and transformer has come into service, that requirement has come on lower side. So the minimum requirement as per table 5 is 30. So accordingly, these are the limits. It is very clearly defined in IS 1866. We need to see as per their requirements. So it is very clear that when there is a transformer oil which we have never used, it will directly go into IS 335. The transformer oil which we have used and which we are using, it has been filled in the new electrical equipment. It will cover in the IS 1866.
Okay.
Now these are the category of equipments like category O, category A, category B, category C. There are the application power transformers with a nominal system voltage of 400 kV and above, which are between 170 kV and below 400 kV. Some are power transformer above 72.5 kV. So these are the categories defined, and accordingly, if you'll see in table 5, so these are in second column, there are categories defined. If the transformer is of O, A and D category, so it means the minimum value, the minimum acceptable value is 50. And in 50, it is defined in poor category. So that means for taking the poor category, we need to refilter the oil to improve the breakdown voltage. These are the limits which can be easily referred into the relevant standard. Now, when we talk about the recommended frequency, so there is no any standard which clearly defines that this is the exact frequency. After that, we need to test the transformer oil. It is very impossible to lay down a general rule for the frequency of examination. It depends on the usage of transformer. Sometimes the same transformer oil we are using in a 500 kV distribution transformer, and the same transformer oil we are using in a transformer of 10 MVA rating. Right. So the application and the usage and the criticality of failure is also very different. So it depends on the user, how they are taking care of their equipment, how much they are, they are sincere about their equipment maintenance. So it again depends on the user only. However, there are some this recommended frequency is defined in IS 1866, like if the transformer is of equipment category O, so then this frequency is 1 to 2 years. If it is of G category, it is 2 to 6 years. But ultimately, it depends on the end user. He has to decide the exact frequency.
Okay, great. Mohitji, you covered the recap very effectively, and everything what we discussed in the last program now refreshed into at least in my mind. And now we are in today's program we are going to take up some advanced test of transformers, including DGA and Fourier analysis to touch upon. So to start with, can you tell us about dissolved gas analysis as a concept, what it is, and what is the principle, what are the methods, and other aspects of it?
Sir, DGA, it is very common parameter and very important parameter that everyone knows about DGA. DGA is one of the most widely used diagnostic tool for detection and evaluating faults in electrical equipment filled with insulating oils.
Yeah.
However, interpretation of DGA results is very complex and it should always be done with care. There is so much, so much calculation, so much feedback data is required for exact analysis of DGA. What basically DGA is, over the time period when the transformer is in service, so many gases, as we all know, it is in a mineral insulating oil. It is basically hydrocarbon chains are there. So there are always so many gases which are always detected when we do the DGA. Yeah, it's in a, it's in a oil. It's in a base of hydrocarbons. So there is always hydrogen, there is in a carbon, you will always detect. But when this insulating oil is used in transformer during the service period, there are mechanical stresses, there are electrical stresses, जिनकी वजह से ये gases generate होती हैं.
Yeah.
So by analyzing this DGA, we can interpret, we can estimate what could be the probable fault in our transformer. Like जैसे हम अपना blood sample check कराते हैं, like we give our blood samples. So after that analysis, we came to know कि हमारी body के अंदर, एक human body के अंदर क्या problem आ सकती हैं. Like हमारा cholesterol बढ़ा हुआ है, so we take corrective action according to that. So the same case is with the DGA. There are some gases that I'll explain in my next slides. There are some gases we normally monitors their concentration, their ppms, how much gases is detected in a GC, gas chromatography. So on that basis, we estimate that this could be the probable fault in our transformer, and this corrective action we need to take to avoid any breakdown of our transformers. So the most important point which I would like to share, in any case, whatever the indications, whatever the observations, whatever the calculations which is mentioned in the standards, which is comes from the calculations, there are so many various methods for calculation of this DG and their interpretation. It should be viewed only as guidance only, and the corrective action should be undertaken only with proper engineering judgment. It should not be like that ki the methane is coming, in my standard is mentioned ki if methane is coming, take this corrective action. It is not like that. DGA depends on so many parameters. For example, like in transformers, अगर अपने ट्रांसफार्मर में जो इंटरनल बॉडी होती है, नॉर्मली वी यूज जिंक क्रोमेट पेंट. इफ यू आर नॉट यूज जिंक क्रोमेट पेंट, तो दैट पेंट विल रिएक्ट विद द ऑयल and some gases will be generated. So when you are, and it will ultimately get dissolved in the transformer oil. So when you are analyzing the transformer oil, definitely you will get these gases. So you are getting gases not from any fault of the transformer, but that is due to the improper painting of the transformer. So it should not be considered as a fault in a transformer. So there are the various techniques, recent trends, trend analysis we need to do, and after that, with proper engineering judgment only, the corrective action should be taken.
Okay.
So like we move further, what are the applicable standards? Like IS 9434, it was recently revised in 2018. It is a guide for sampling and analysis of free and dissolved gases. And IS 10593, it is for mineral oil filled electrical equipment in service, guidance on the interpretation of dissolved and free gases analysis. Third revision. It is already in line with IEC 60599. See, it is very clearly mentioned in the standard also. These are the guides only that we need to follow. These are not the standards that ultimately, yeah, it is applicable for all the situations. These are the only guidance that we need to follow.
Yes. These are just reference which you can refer to, but may not be the deciding factor. You have to again consider your situation and condition of the transformer. Then you can take a call on that. Very true.
It is very site specific. It can differ from one transformer to another. Like you are having two transformer at the same site. If someone says that one transformer is working fine and another one is not working fine, so there could be 100 reasons for not working fine of a transformer. So
Yes.
these are the just guidance only. So for the corrective action, you have to be very sure ki these are the trend analysis, these are the gases which are generating, these are the rate of increase of gas, these are the previous analysis. There are so many calculations are required to come to some conclusion when we are talking about the dissolved gas analysis.
I think the trend analysis is very important. I mean, with previous results, you must compare the today's result, and then based on that, also you can take the call on it. Ki whether deterioration is further happening, a rate of deterioration has improved, or something like that. So, looking at the previous test results is also very important while taking a decision or call on the report of the present analysis, right?
Yes, sir, you are very correct in this point. Uh, the trend analysis is very much required because the trend analysis, it completely depends on your loading factors, loading patterns, how much loading you are giving to the transformer. Always you need to compare with the previous analysis, how much rate of increase of gases you have observed in the with respect to your previous analysis. What
Right.
is the rate, at how much rate it is getting increased. Then you need to calculate as per the ratio methods, Roger methods. There are 2 3 methods also.
Yeah.
Accordingly, that we need to calculate. We need to create some graph also in which category that fault is coming and what could be the probable reason and what is the corrective action required.
Okay.
It is same like that for a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Just after the birth, doctor normally takes their blood samples to check the condition of newborn baby.
G.
So after that, this becomes the benchmark values for further analysis. Like after 2 3 years, some problem comes. So what are the values observed at the time of birth is always compared with the at the time of problem when it is coming. So same case is with the DGA. When we are especially, I recommend in case of large transformer for big substations for transmission switch yards में जो transformer which we are using, I especially recommend कि before energization of transformer, we should conduct one DG analysis. After 24 or 48 hours, we should go for the DG analysis, and after 6 months and 1 year, we should go for the DG analysis. And on the basis of whatever the gases you are getting in that analysis,
Mm.
you should decide further frequency ki whether it is required on 6 month basis, whether it is required on yearly basis, and these results should be kept in such a manner that it can be compared with the previous result. So that you can come to some conclusion ki at the starting of transformer during the charging, these were the concentration, these were the loading patterns, and these are the gases generated in our transformers. So on that basis, you can come to some conclusion and corrective action can be taken. So these were the two standard IS 9434. It only defines about the
Yeah.
sampling of oil, how to take sample from the transformer, and how to extract gases from the transformer oil. There are 2 3 methods. There are some head space method. There is a vacuum extraction method. So this IS 9434, it defines, it is limited to that part only.
Mm.
And after that, whatever the gases we are getting in during analysis, so IS 10593 states about how to interpret those gases.
Okay.
So moving to the next slide.
Okay. Before going into the further, I also wanted to ask from the audience point of view that this dissolved gas analysis per se, how it is done actually in laboratories. What is the principle of doing this analysis? Can you share some information? Whether it is a chemical
Sure, sir.
analysis or what it is?
Sure, sir. I'll explain all the parts. Sir, the first part is related with the sampling, how the sample is being taken from the transformer, which is very much important because during sampling, the atmospheric air should not come in contact with the samples which we are taking. Otherwise, what will happen? It will there would be some concentration changes in the gases, and whatever the gases we want to analysis, the exact gases will not come in the picture.
Yes.
First point. After coming to the laboratory, that these dissolved gases are extracted from the oil. There are 2 3 methods. One is vacuum extraction method. Under the vacuum, these gases are extracted. The secondary head space method. After extraction of these gases, there is an instrument, gas chromatography, and there are two channels. There are detectors, FID detectors and TCD detector. So based on that detectors, we detect the concentration of gases.
Okay.
And after getting the concentration, these concentrations are calculated, whatever what is the exact ppm we are getting in GC, gas chromatography, and these are compared with the analysis. What our recommendations क्या है, rate of increase of gases क्या है, या analysis क्या है. One more thing I would like to share, कि there are no any limits mentioned in anywhere in any of the documents. Only these are the probable concentrations which is mentioned in any document. So we cannot come to one conclusion कि these are our limits. If these limits are being crossed, so there is a violation of a particular gas and corrective action needs to be taken. There is no any limit mentioned in any of the standards. In IC also it is not mentioned. So every time we need to correlate with the previous analysis. So doing DGA, keeping the records in a beautiful manner is also a very important part of analysis. End-to-end analysis.
Okay. So how this analysis? I understand there are various tools are available, models are available, like Rogers ratio is there, or your dual triangle is there, and I think 7-6 other methods are also there. So first of all, why so many methods, and is it not? Conclusions from one method might be contradicting with some other method. So can you share some thoughts on that?
Sir, there are so many experts available in the world, those who regularly does experiment, but all the transformers, these are not of a same nature. All the time their applications is different. So all the rules, all the methods like Rogers ratio methods, Duvenel triangle methods, key gas methods, these are the available methods. It can be referred, but these are not applicable to all the methods, all the transformers, because transformers, when we talk about, there are furnace transformer, there are CTPTs, current transformer, potential transformer, some are distribution transformers, some are power transformers. Their loading pattern is different. Some are overloaded in being overloaded in their service life. So methods are available. But these methods cannot be considered as a general method which are applicable to all categories of transformers. So among that, as per IS 10593, the most acceptable method is the Rogers ratio method. Rogers ratio method basically describe about the three ratios that I'll show in my screen. I'm just sharing the standard with the audience. Just give me a minute. Sure. Sir, is the screen visible?
Your PPT screen is visible.
PPT screen is visible.
Okay. It is come out of presentation mode. No, PPT is seen.
Okay, just a minute. I think now it is visible, sir.
Now it is visible. Yes.
Sir, this is Indian Standard 10593, and it is already in line with the IC standard 60599. This is mineral oil field electrical equipment in service guidance on the interpretation of dissolved and free gas analysis. So we'll talk about the Rogers ratio method. Just give me a minute. Let me come to that point.
Audience, meanwhile, when he is coming to that page, I request you to put your questions into the chat box as usual, and we will take them in the end of the program. So if you have any questions, so the chat box is available. You can put down your questions over there. Yeah.
So these are the three basic gas ratios. Yes. C2H2, C2H4, CH4H2, C2H4, C2H6. So these are the gas ratios basically is as per the Roger ratio method. So after calculation of these ratios, when these ratios come in particular category, so can after that we can come to some this characteristic fault that it is of partial discharge, it is of discharge of low energy, it is discharge of high energy, it is of thermal fault, it is of thermal fault between this 300 degree to 700 degrees Celsius, it is thermal fault of greater than 700 degrees Celsius. These are the three gases which we need to compare after the DG analysis. If after calculation of these gas ratios, if it particularly comes into this section, for example, if it is comes in this section, discharge of low energy, so after that we can have some hint only that there might be possible charges of this discharges of low energy karke, but this cannot be concluded as a final interpretation. Again, we need to compare with the previous analysis. Sometimes some of the gases, like in conservator transformer, some of the gases disappears. They comes for some specific time during the higher loading pattern, when the load is on higher side, and after that it goes disappear. So every time you need to compare with the previous analysis. So these were the Roger ratio method, and this is the most widely accepted method all over the world, but it cannot be considered as a benchmark, but every time you have to correlate with the previous analysis only.
मोहित जी, एक क्वेश्चन मेरे दिमाग में आ रहा है, थोड़ा सा आउट ऑफ द वे है कि when we talk about the studying the trend, I mean comparing with the past test results, and one aspect of this gas concentration in the transformer is related with the filtration of the oil. If suppose the filtration is done much, I mean not much earlier than taking the DGA sample, and then we do the DGA, so the test results will come, will not give you true picture, and you cannot compare with the past data. So if in this situation, if you are doing the comparison, then maybe you are leading to something wrong conclusion. So what should be the way out of this dilemma?
Sir, you are correct in your question, and this is very good. You have.
Munji, your voice is not coming.
Just a minute. Sir.
Yeah, now it is coming.
Now it is coming, no, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, my internet connection is also very unstable. I am getting lot of an
no issue, but voice is clear.
Okay. Sir, it's a very good point regarding the DG analysis and when we should take the samples. It is before the oil filtration and it is after the oil filtration. It is very true. If you are taking the sample after oil filtration, that means we have, we have done the dialysis basically. Like in our body, we have done the dialysis. हमने पूरा अपने body का पूरा blood change कर दिया, and after that we are getting some samples. So you cannot compare at that time with the previous result. You will not get the exact readings, exact feedback you will not get. So in that case, it is always recommended that whenever a client wants the true correlation, true trend analysis, it should take sample before oil filtration. Because after oil filtration, so many sludges will go, some of the trapped gases will go. You will not get those exact results which is expected. So it is always recommended for the exact analysis, for the better analysis, for a good analysis and the good interpretation, the oil sample should be taken prior to oil filtration activity only. It should not be taken after that.
Mohitji, I would like to add here a little bit from my side is we have some solution which is moisture management and drying of the transformer on online basis. And in that, if you adopt that solution, which is from Streamer Electric, it is called Transec, and we represent that in India. So with that, first of all, you will not require to take the filtration with the conventional method, and your gases will remain in the oil. So whenever you take a sample, irrespective of, because you're not doing this filtration with the conventional method, so anytime you will get the right ratios of the gases in the transformer oil. So that is one of the advantage of that system. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, Maiji.
Sir, yeah, is the presentation visible, sir?
It is visible. Just put it in the PPT mode. I mean presentation mode. And you touched upon this sampling. There is a separate standard for oil sampling for dissolved gas analysis. Okay. And then you said ki, the contamination of the ambient air should not happen into the sample and all. So that complete method is different when you are taking the sample for DG and when you are taking the sample for BDV or PPM. So that special care needs to be taken while doing the sampling. Okay. So looking at these things, it appears to me that oil testing and analysis is a subject in itself, and the end user or transformer manufacturers should get adequately, I mean, informed about this area. And I think our program is doing that up to some extent, but still I feel that it is very important aspect of complete life cycle analysis and enhancement and life cycle extension also. So this is a very important aspect, and how it can reach to people, that is also very critical. So I'm just thinking loudly, so there's no question based on that. So you can continue further.
Sir, you were correct in the point of sampling also. There the special needs to be take care when you are going for an DG samples. I would like to share one of my experience of Adani Group. They were having transformer of 180 MVA, and it was almost 6 months they have commissioned the transformer. There was some problem with the OLTC.
Okay.
And during operation, someday it got tripped actually.
Okay.
So they were in doubt ki what could have happened. So for taking a corrective action, immediately they took the oil sample and they sent in our laboratory for analysis, and we did the analysis and we found that there were some gases. Yes, we have observed some gases, but for a transformer which is having a life of only 6 months, which has been commissioned just before the 6 months only, the concentration of gases should not be on that much size.
Yes.
It should not be concentrated. It should not have been generated. Although there would be gases, but the concentration was on a little bit higher side. So we just recommended customer ki on the basis of analysis, we have observed that these gases are on somewhat higher side, and you should consult first OEM, because the transformer is only 6 months old.
Right.
Some gases are generated. The main part is that you should consult with the OEM, as the transformer is of 180 MVA and 220 kV voltage class. So it is having a very huge cost.
Yes.
So after that, they did some pre-commissioning test on the transformer, and after that they went for the internal inspection of the transformer at site only, and they found one contact in OLTC was observed burnt. वो जला हुआ उनको उसके अंदर एक contact मिला. There wasn't one sparking, and due to that the transformer was stripped, and they found that there wasn't a problem with the transformer.
Okay.
So these are the benefits of DGA, that in any fault, before coming to any conclusion, you should send your sample for the DG analysis. It is a must. It is basically condition monitoring program. Matlab we cannot say ki it will deteriorate. It will tell about the condition of oil, whether it is suitable for future use or not. It is a condition monitoring program that we are doing the condition monitoring of our transformer. Like you said earlier, ki there are so many techniques that we can do the online DGA also. We can do this online condition monitoring. For the large transformer, I surely recommend all my customers to go for the online DGA. Right. It is a very beneficial. However, there is no any specific standard on the limits due to large variety of transformer, and there are some limitations also. But however, it is a very good technique. Now coming to the points. These are the 7.
Can I ask one more question?
Please, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm deviating from your predefined course, but questions are coming, so I'm not able to stop myself. So
Sir,
this
actually,
question,
this is very interesting topic basically.
yeah. So
The more you discuss, the more knowledge you get actually.
yes, definitely. Normally, when at transformer manufacturers, the temperature rise test is done, especially on the large transformers. So the DGA samples are taken before and after the temperature rise test. Okay. So my
Okay.
question is that why it is done, and second part of the question is, do you find significant differences in these two changes? I mean these two samples before and after temperature rise, and what could have been the reason of those? If you can quote some example, that is fine. Otherwise, just explanation is also okay.
Sir, as far as
Hello.
is a part of type test of transformers.
Yeah.
It is done at the full load, na, sir? If I am
Yeah,
correct.
it is. Yes, temperature rise done at full load plus no load loss. Total losses.
No load was for the 24 hours, I think, minimum for 24 hours.
Not 24 hours. That depends upon the stabilization of the thermal design of the transformer. So as soon as the temperature heat generated becomes the heat dissipated, it is called as the transformer is doing its cooling. Okay, so that way we prove with the temperaturized test this transformer is adequately designed to maintain the maximum rating temperature at a maximum load. So that is the objective of test, and the duration depends upon the stability of the thermal situation.
Sir, at that stage, the significance is basically mineral insulating oil is basically chain of hydrocarbons.
G.
So before energization of transformer, what are the DJ results we are getting? And after heat run test, it's something like that for the particular time we are charging the transformer and we are putting in the load. So
Hmm.
after getting on the load, what are the gases generated? If there would be
Hmm.
any fault, so
Hmm.
the concentration of gases will definitely get increased.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
comparing these two results will come with some conclusion that there could be some probable fault in the transformer.
Hmm.
So before taking the delivery, that transformer should be inspected and this
Yeah.
should be checked. What could be the probable reason of why these gases has increased?
Hmm.
So this could be the main significance of this before taking the
Hmm.
sample and after charging the samples. And this is the same case also, sir. When a large size capacity transformer comes at the site,
Hmm.
so before charging the transformer, after filtration, one sample
Yeah.
is taken,
Yes.
and after charging the transformer within 24 hours and
Hmm.
48 hours, for some of the organization that I know, sir, like Indian Railways,
Yeah.
if everyone would be knowing about the WDFC, Western Dedicated Freight Corridor, we are doing their samples and our lab
Hmm.
is approved by Indian Railway also.
Hmm.
So we are doing their samples also. They are very strict about particular this DG analysis. Before charging the transformer, they takes the value, get the analysis done, and immediately after charging the transformer,
Hmm.
after 24 hours and 48 hours, they
Hmm.
they again go for the DG analysis to check whether the concentration of gases has increased. So for sure, if there is a problem with the transformer after charging, these gases will definitely increase. And
Hmm.
if these gases are increased, immediately you can take the corrective action.
Right.
Immediately you
Right.
can consult with the OEM, and there are so many experts, so many this engineering calculations could be done to come to some conclusion, and this corrective action could be taken to avoid further damage of the
Hmm.
transformer.
Correct. Right, sir. Perfect.
So these are the 7 gases which are mainly generated during when transformer is in service. These are the gases which are being analyzed during the DG analysis, and this could be the indicative fault if the concentration of these gases are observed. So there is no any limit. There is only IEEE study
Hmm.
which defines some limits for a normal transformer. IEEE studies are not a part of any standard worldwide. These are the research that a group of engineers, a group of chemists that they are doing and they are publishing. These could be taken as a reference value, but it cannot be, it cannot be considered as a part of standard.
Hmm.
Some organizations mention these are the benchmark values. As far as these are not a part of any Indian standard, international standard, any ASTM standard, so these cannot be considered as a final value. But however, there is an engineering calculations is there. There are some there are lot of you know research is associated with these calculations. So these can be considered as a reference value only. So these are the 5 gases, methane, 7 gases: methane, ethylene, ethane, acetylene, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. So these could be the indicative fault when there is a concentration of methane. There could be a local overheating, ethylene, thermal degradation of oil, ethane, overheating. If acetylene is detected, there could be some arcing and sparking. If there is a hydrogen is detected, for sure there is an electrical and thermal fault. When we talk about carbon monoxide, there could be a thermal aging of paper. And when we detect CO2, it could be a cellulose decomposition. And as we earlier discussed, furan analysis also, we'll discuss in the next slides also.
Yeah.
These can be correlated with the furan analysis also. So these are the important gases which normally goes with every DG analysis. And after observing the concentration of these particular gases, and after calculating with the basic gas ratio as per the Roger ratio method, some point can be concluded that this could be the probable fault in our transformer. Again, as I so many times I have earlier told, these needs to be correlated with the previous result only. If you do not have any previous results, go for the DG analysis right now, take these values as a benchmark values, and in future go for the analysis and compare it with the previous result, how much rate of gas of these gases is increased.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, further to this DGA, there is a flowchart also.
Okay.
There is an examination of DGA results. At least one gas is above typical values of gas concentration and rates of gas increase. Calculate gas ratio. If it is increased, then fault identified by table 1. Then we need to further go for the other alarm conditions. All gases below typical values of gas concentration and rates of gas increase, so then it will be considered as a healthy equipment. If gas ratios, as per the gas ratios, we are getting some values as per the table 1, it is mentioned in IS 1053, we need to identify the fault, whether it is of discharges low energy, it is of high energy, it is of high temperature. Then whatever the corrective action we need to take, we need to take that action.
Okay. Very nice, sir. So let us come to the next test after DGA. If somebody is having a question on DGA, they can put up their questions in the chat box. And then we are moving ahead from DGA to the next test, which is particle count in the oil sample, and why it is significant and how it is done. Kindly put some light on that.
So particle count. Basically, in simple words, these are the minute particles which are normally observed in transformer oils. There could be probable reason from where they come. I'll further move to those points also. Particles in insulating on electrical equipment may have numerous possible sources. The equipment itself may contain particles from manufacturing. For example, like there is a new fabricated tank. You have not done a proper cleaning inside the transformer, then you can have metal particles in a very small amount. This could be the probable reason. The oil may contain particles from storage and handling, if not properly filtered. When it has come in service, this oil filtration vendor has come, his filters are not very clean, so therefrom also some particles can come. So this could be the probable reason of particle counts. The particles are getting increased. And what could be the consequences? The effect of suspended particles may reduce dielectric strength of insulating oil
Hmm.
depending on the type of particles. If the dielectric strength is low, ultimately the purpose of transformer oil is not served, which is
Hmm.
for the cooling, and the second in to maintain the insulation strength of the transformer.
Hmm.
So this is the main significance of this particle test.
What is the applicable standard for this? Are there any limits of particle count?
Uh, Sir, it is just a minute. I'll show the one slide, sir.
Yeah.
So just give me a second. I'm just opening that particular slide actually.
Okay, okay, no issue. While Mohit ji is opening his slide, I would like to request the participants and the audience to come forward on this platform and do share your area of expertise. We are not limited to transformers, and I would be welcoming the people from non-transformer areas also. And if they can come to the program as a guest speaker, we can have the interviews or they can present their presentation themselves. So both the approaches are available. So I request to please come forward and take this initiative further. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Mohit.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. There is one test method, IEC 60970, which helps in getting this particle contamination level to know that there is a limit. There are some guidelines mentioned in the IS 1866. So these are the size of particles basically. If you'll see the maximum count per 100 ml, if in 100 ml, if you are getting 5 mm and the 15 mm, on that basis, these are correlated.
Okay.
So if the size is, if the quantity particles are above 130000, then it can be regarded as an affair and contamination level found on a significant number of transformer service. So these are the categories actually. It depends on the number of particles that you are getting in your analyzer. There is an instrument like particle count analyzer. Sample is through that analyzer, and using a laser beam, it is detected the size of the transformer and the quantity also.
Okay.
So if you are getting that this particles, you need to refilter and again recondition the transformer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Rajiv sir, please continue.
Yeah, it is visible.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So can we take up the next topic, which is 4 point?
Please, sir, continue, sir.
And
Sir, 4 points.
4 point is it significance in country like India, which is more or less warm country, where the temperatures are not very low. So,
Sir,
hmm.
we cannot say India is in a warm country. If you see
Okay.
the temperature of Delhi, basically it is around 2 degrees Celsius, sir.
Compared to Europe, it is still warmer.
So, so we have a lot of significance, sir. In Ladakh, we
Okay.
are having minus 50 degrees Celsius also.
Okay. Right.
So this is the first time when this IS 335, which has been revised in 2018, it has come with different categories.
Okay.
The three categories have been introduced: type 1, type 2, and the low switchgear oil.
Mhm.
Earlier, in the earlier version IS 335 up to amendment 2010, there was only a requirement of less than minus 6 degrees Celsius only.
Ah,
The power point should be more than minus 6 degrees Celsius only.
okay.
So basically, power point, the ability of oil to flow at low temperature. Basically, देखिए the oil की जो दो properties है ना, insulating and the cooling. Cooling वो कब करेगा? When there will be flow. अगर वो freeze हो गया, so that purpose will not be solved.
Right.
So it is in a of the oil to flow at the low temperature. Like when we talk about the Jammu and Kashmir, so in the winter season, the normally temperature goes in minus. In Ladakh, it is normally 50 degrees Celsius. In Delhi also now it is 2 degree, 3 degree, 1 degree Celsius. So the oil should have a power point. It should not stop basically. It should have an ability of oil to flow at low temperature. However, this power point is nowhere correlated with the deterioration. If we talk about that, if we do talk about the condition monitoring part, so it doesn't have that much, significance in that.
Okay. Okay.
But sometimes what happens ki when there is a need to top up the transformer oil, कुछ oil leakage हो गया, oil कम हो गया, oil drain हो गया, like in case NIFS nitrogen injector filling this, sometimes fire होता है तो वो basically oil पूरा drain हो जाता है ना, after that again
जी.
we top up the oil.
Yes.
So it can be interpreted as a result of topping within a different oil. कि एक oil आपका है level 1 का, उसका requirement is up to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Then अगर आपने oil दूसरा use किया of the same specification but of different category. So there you can conclude कि you have used two transformers of two type of oil. There you can differentiate between that. In that case, this has any significance. In that case, you will not get that power point which was earlier with the when the transformer was charged.
Naturally.
Or otherwise, normally power point, it goes up to the ability, we have tested in our laboratory also. The maximum we have gone up to the minus 42 degrees Celsius. This oil power point we have got up to minus 42 degrees Celsius. And some of the oils comes which are of very good quality. It comes around minus 55 degrees Celsius also.
Okay.
So at that point also the oil is not getting freeze, it is flowing actually. So these are required particularly in case of when we are installing transformer in Jammu and Kashmir, in Ladakh region where the temperature normally gets in minus also.
Yes.
They have the significance of power point.
Yeah. So how it is done?
Sir, there is a power point apparatus basically. There are some chemical treatment of ice also. Some chemicals are also used to keep the temperature below as per requirement. So it's a somewhat long procedure, sir.
Okay. So you have to have that facility to achieve that low temperature. So you said minus 45 or minus 50 degree. So you should have that, apparatus to generate that much low temperature in laboratory.
Yes, sir. Yes, We have to
Is
compression.
this test is very costly then because of this?
So as far as when you are going up to the minus 40 and 45 degree, then test
Hmm.
is costly, sir.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of chemical is used in analysis of this pour point actually.
Acha, acha, acha. Okay, okay. Very nice. Right, sir. So anything more on PowerPoint or can we go to the next topic?
So we can go to next topic, sir.
Okay. I think before we go to the next glamorous test for an analysis, a little bit can you talk on density test, density measurement? And in colder parts, if we talk about pour point and density, are they correlated in some way? How it is?
Sir, they are somewhat related. In cold climates, the density of oil may be important in determining its suitability for use.
Hmm.
For example, sometimes what happens, ice crystals formed from suspended water
Oh.
may float on oil of high density and lead to flashover on subsequent melting.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, density is not significant in comparing the quality of different samples of oil, and there is no also any evidence that density is affected by normal oil deterioration. That means it is not
Mm-hmm.
a part of condition monitoring,
Hmm.
but it's very useful, very useful when you are using two types of oil. For example, you have gone to some in market and you have
Hmm.
purchased transformer oil when there is a lack of knowledge and some supplier has wrongly supplied, has wrongly given some different oil which is
Hmm.
similar. If you see the which is by viewing the oil is similar to transformer oil, but it's
Hmm.
not exactly a transformer oil.
Mm-hmm.
और आप उसको top up कर रहे हैं, then density is very much important.
Okay.
we
Okay.
we normally in laboratory, sir, we know we have some samples in which we have found that density is not as per the requirement, because water has some different density, petrol has different density, this diesel has different density.
Yeah.
So by measuring the density you can verify this is the transformer oil, this is petrol and this
Okay.
is basically. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके कोई दो ऑयल मिक्स हो गए और आप उसको यूज कर रहे हैं. तो डेंसिटी इज द बेसिक. इट इज वेरी सिंपल टू एग्जीक्यूट ऑल्सो. अगर आप कभी कहीं किसी पेट्रोल पंप पे देखें, मतलब they normally frequently use whenever they receive petrol or diesel from the terminals, from the this oil terminals, the very first test they go for the density. They check whether the density is as per the is coming in the range or not. If it is in the range, then after that only they accept that material. Otherwise they raise the complaint that density is not coming as per the range. If it is not coming as per the range, that means it is not petrol, it is not that particular product, some other fluids has have mixed with this oil.
Mixed into it.
So you can discriminate between different oils using this parameter density. That is why it is having significance.
I think density measurement is very important in other liquids also. I think milk also is, qualified based on the density. There is very quick way to measure the density, and you can see whether milk is adulterated or not.
Yes, sir. It is very important, sir.
Yeah.
It is the basic characteristic. You cannot change that characteristic actually. That is why it is very useful, sir.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Very important. So then can we go up to Furan analysis?
Yes, sir. We'll go to the Furan analysis. Furan, DGA, sir. These are the most important parameters that we should go for the analysis.
Yes.
Furan is also a powerful diagnostic test carried out to detect the healthy condition of solid insulation material. When we talk about the solid insulation, there is only one paper which is covered on the copper winding of copper conductor. That is the only solid insulation which you will find in the transformer, other than liquid insulation. Transformer oil comes in the category of liquid insulation, and that paper which is covered on the conductors on the it comes under the solid insulation.
Yes.
Basically, these furans are formed by degradation of paper insulation. Paper insulation is of basically cellulosic. The paper is of cellulose. So over the time period, there is an electrical and mechanical stresses. So these cellulose bonds they start breaking, ये break होना start हो जाते हैं, their polymerization, their degree, that also weak होना start हो जाते हैं. Weak होने के बाद में these get broken, dissolved होता है ये paper oil के अंदर. तो after that जब हम इसका analysis करते हैं तो that insulation, if it has been dissolved in the oil, that means it has gone from the conductor basically. तो अब अगर conductor के ऊपर में insulation नहीं है, it has dissolved in the oil, so that the insulation has weakened. So after analysis of these furanic compounds, we can estimate the life of transformer also. We can estimate, we can identify the condition of transformer also. What could be the probable conditions? Like furan is directly correlated with the degree of polymerization of paper. For a new transformer, this dp of paper is around 1200. For age transformer, it is around 200, 300 when it comes to it. And also, so a dp of sample, it's very difficult because you have to lift the top cover, you have to take the paper sample for further analysis, which is a very hectic procedure. Furan is very simple. You just take out the oil samples and go for the analysis. If furan is detected, ideally in a transformer, it should not be detected because it is directly related with the solid paper insulation. If it is being detected, correlate it with the DG analysis. In DGA, if we have seen 7 gases, C and CO2, if we are getting CO2 on very higher side, it indicates there is a cellulose decomposition. If the furan is coming, so that means there is something happening inside the transformer, and we do further analysis. We have to compare it with the previous results to come to some conclusion.
Okay. Okay. So this is also done by taking the oil sample, and it is a very simple to do test. And basically, I believe this is the only test which can tell you the life of the insulation. Because degree of polymerization, you need a paper sample, as you said, and you need a paper which is deep inside the winding, just not the outside paper, because deep inside the winding is most affected with, due to hotspots and all, and that you cannot take out in a healthy transformer. So you cannot damage the winding and take the insulation, so you have to repair the winding. So practically, if you look at, if you want to assess the remaining life of the transformer, then furan is the only best way and simpler way. And it is very, very important to do this test at a regular interval, especially when the transformer has surpassed 10 years or 12 years life. Then maybe regularly this test can be done to understand how the transformer is aging. Isn't it, sir?
Yes, sir, you are correct. Furan analysis is also a part of life extension program. As per the Central Electricity Authority Regulations 2010, there is a general guideline that after 15 years of electrical equipments which have been in service, we need to go for the life extension program, or we need to go for the RLA, life assessment program.
Yeah.
So this is also the same case before charging. At the time of charging, you took one sample, you do the analysis whether the furans are coming or not. Ideally, it should not come because it's in a part of solid insulation.
Right.
If it is a matter of liquid insulation and oil is getting deteriorated, it is not suitable for the further use. You can change at any time liquid insulation, which is very easy to change. As far as solid insulation is concerned, it is not easy to change. As in all the cases, you need to go for the rebinding. So it is not very easy. You should go for this rewinding and should take that much decision. That is why this furan can be correlated with the DG also. And as per the life extension program also, it is also having a very much significance.
So Mohitji, suppose then it can be used. Suppose if I get a DGA done, and I find that the DG is indicating that the insulation is getting damaged or getting deteriorated. So if I do furan also, then furan can be a confirmatory test on the transformer. With furan being done also, then I will get a confirm situation that yes, that paper is getting deteriorated very fast. So maybe it can also work as a confirmatory test for the DGA. In some cases, some particular cases. Of course, when the acetylene is getting generated and arcing is happening inside, then probably fluorine test will not give you any confirmation about the situation.
Sir, as far as solid insulation is concerned, DGA can give signals of furan also. Like if go as per this IS 10593, there is a ratio of CO2 oblique CO. Like there is a ratio of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide, right? Yes.
If that ratio we are not getting in the range,
yeah.
So there also it is recommended to go for the furan analysis.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, if during analysis if you are getting some furans, so that can be considered as a confirmatory test. Then you can believe on the results of that furan because the same is also indicated in the DG also. And again, when you are cross checking with the furan, you are getting the furan. That means there is some problem. There could be some problem. There is not there could be some problem and the corrective action should be required.
Yes.
But again, furan also that you need to compare with the previous results.
Exactly.
Basically.
Correct.
But yeah, when in both the analysis, if you are getting some hint on this furan analysis, that means you can consider it is a confirmatory test.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Yes, sir. Anything more on furan?
Sir, one more thing is also there.
Yeah. Okay.
The applicable standard is IEC 61198 mineral insulating oils. Method for the determination of 2-furfural and related compounds. There are the 5 furanic compounds. It depends on the wavelength of the detector we normally use to detect. It is 5-hydroxymethyl 2-furfural alcohol. These are the 5 this furanic compounds, and the most important is the 2-furfural. In ideal condition, it should not be detected. It should not come in the results. If it is coming, that means there could be some problem with the solid insulations.
Okay, great. So that is wonderful, Mohitji, and I think we are at the end of your information sharing. And on the screen, you can get more details about K-Tech Oil Laboratories, and they are based in Bahadurgarh, that is NCR. So thank you, Mohitji, with wonderful information in 2 sessions. Around 90 minutes, 180 minutes information has been shared on the oil testing itself, which is quite vast and detailed. And you had very freely went into the subject and shared your experiences and knowledge. And I hope that will be very, very useful for the participants today. And with this, can you stop your screen share, Mohitji, so that I can turn it back? Yeah, thank you. So with this, we are coming to today's presentation part, and I would be opening the chat box if something is there, and then we can take up. So we are going into question answer session now. If somebody is having questions, they can ask. I don't see any questions in the chat box. So if you have some questions, you can ask directly to Mohitji, and then we can move towards. Yeah, I can see something in chat box now. No, okay. Mohitji has said thank you to all. And there is one question, Mohitji, about regarding DGA. It is asking that one question regarding DGA is headspace method included in IS 9434 standard about DGA.
Yes, headspace method has been included in IS 9434 and the latest version is 2020, and now it is in line with the IC standard. That's why the headspace method now has come in IS 9434.
Okay. Thank you, Mohitji, for your answer. Any more questions? If questions are there, you can directly ask. Then we have, this is about our next week's webinar, as I said in the beginning of the program. that we are going to have very experienced personality on OLTC, which is Mr. G. Balasubramanian, and he's owner and director of Inventive Solutions, and he comes from research and development background for the OLTCs. And he has been part of various developments, including patent filing of around 5 patent filing has been done. So next week on 27 January, at the same time, we are going to have a wonderful session by Mr. G. Balasubramaniam on on-load tape changers. And I do request you to please uh, come to the program, please participate in this also, and kindly spread the information about our this web series Wednesday Wisdom, which will be going into the 13th episode next week. We do upload our select videos on the our YouTube channel. Here is the link in front of you. You can subscribe to our channel, and you can watch these videos, end-to-end videos. These videos, as usual, will be long because it is the recording of the actual webinar. So, but anytime you can dive into this video library and get the information about the topic you want. And with every passing week, this library is getting richer, and this is going to be a great, I mean, you can say treasure for the transformer related people. Anytime you can get to the information which is shared by our respected guest speakers, and you can definitely be part of this initiative. Please come forward and volunteer yourself to share the your experience. And वो बोलते हैं कि शेयर करने से ही खुशी बढ़ती है. So sharing gives you a lot of pleasure also, and that I would believe Mr. Mohit also will be agreeing with me on this aspect. So thank you so much, dear participants and audience, and Mohit, especially a great thing to you that you've taken out 2 weeks for us and shared your information on this platform of North Star Knowledge Academy. And we will remain indebted to you for doing this great service to the fraternity through North Star. So thank you so much. With this, I am going to close the session. If any questions are there, you can directly write to me, or you can send a WhatsApp message, or you can directly call me, and I will try to get the answers to your questions. So thank you so much. So please come in the next program, which is on the next Wednesday on on-load tape changes by Mr. G. Balasubramanian. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Yes, Moiji, you want to say something?
Thank you very much, sir. And a special thanks goes to you for taking this beautiful initiative. I'm really very impressed from the
Welcome,
very
sir.
first episode that you have taken such a good initiative.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
This is one of its kind. One in entire India, no one in our relation, which are in very close contact, no one is taking this much initiative. And you know, there is no any financial benefit, I would say. There is no, we are not charging any, nothing. No,
nothing.
All these speakers, they are coming with their wish only, with their simple request from your side. So this is very good initiative you have taken, sir. I really appreciate this.
Thank you so much, Moiji. Thank you so much. Only thing, please help us in spreading the news about this program so that it can reach to the wider spectrum of the Indian fraternity and experts, and so that it will be useful to more and more people. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you.
Bye bye. Namaskar. Take care.